Imagine a woman, thousands of years ago, standing by a river. She is not thinking about fashion. She is not thinking about beauty trends. She is thinking about power. She grinds a dark mineral between two stones, and she presses it carefully around her eyes, not because she wants to look pretty, but because she believes it will protect her from evil spirits. She believes it will make the gods notice her. She believes it will keep her alive. This is where our story begins. Makeup is not a modern invention. It is not something that started with Hollywood movies or Instagram influencers. The story of makeup is actually the story of human beings. Our fears, our beliefs, our desire to belong, and sometimes our desperate need to survive. So let's go back, all the way back, about 5,000 years ago, to one of the most powerful civilizations in history, ancient Egypt. The Egyptians were obsessed with makeup, and we are not talking about a little color on the lips. We are talking about a full daily ritual that was as important as eating or praying. Both men and women wore makeup. The pharaoh wore it, the soldiers wore it, the priests wore it. Even the poor people tried to wear it when they could. Their most famous product was called kohl. It was a thick, dark mixture made from a mineral called galena, a type of lead ore mixed with animal fat or oil. They painted it in wide lines around their eyes. You have probably seen this look in ancient Egyptian paintings, those dramatic, dark eyes that seem to look straight at you even after 5,000 years. But here is the part that most people do not know. The Egyptians did not use kohl just for beauty. They used it because they believed it had magical powers. They thought it could protect them from the evil eye, a curse that could come from someone looking at you with jealousy or hatred. They also thought it connected them to the god Horus, who had the eyes of a hawk. To wear kohl was to wear the eyes of a god. And there was another reason, a very practical one. Egypt is a desert country with a blazing sun. The dark color around the eyes actually reduced the glare of the sunlight. Think of it like the black paint that American football players put under their eyes. Functional, clever, and 5,000 years old. Now, while Egypt was building pyramids and painting their eyes, something was also happening much further away, in ancient China and Japan. Women there were whitening their faces with rice powder. A pale face was considered the highest form of beauty. It was a sign that you did not have to work outside under the sun. It meant you were wealthy, educated, powerful. Your skin was your social status. Your makeup was your message to the world. And then there were the ancient Greeks. They had a different obsession: the eyebrows. In ancient Greece, having one single connected eyebrow, what we today call a unibrow, was considered incredibly attractive and a sign of great intelligence. Women who did not naturally have a unibrow would actually paint one on using a dark powder made from coal or soot. Imagine the opposite of what people do today. This is the thing about beauty. It is never fixed. It is never absolute. What is beautiful in one time, in one place, can be completely different somewhere else. And makeup has always been the tool that people used to chase whatever that ideal was. Now let us jump forward, far forward, to 16th century Europe. The most powerful woman in England at this time was Queen Elizabeth I. She was intelligent, fierce, and completely terrifying to her enemies. She was also obsessed with one particular look: a completely white face.
She wore something called Venetian ceruse. It was a mixture of white lead and vinegar painted thickly across the entire face. It covered blemishes, scars, and anything that made the skin look uneven. The result was a face that looked almost like a mask, smooth, pale, ghostly white. The problem? It was slowly killing her. Lead is a poison. Using it on your skin every single day, year after year, causes damage to the nerves, to the brain, and to the skin itself. Ironically, the ceruse that was meant to make the skin look perfect was actually destroying it. So women would apply more ceruse to hide the damage caused by the ceruse. It was a terrible cycle. And Elizabeth was not alone. Across Europe, aristocratic women and men were doing the same thing. They were poisoning themselves to look beautiful, to look powerful, to look like they belonged to the highest levels of society. This is one of the darkest chapters in the history of makeup, but it teaches us something important. Throughout history, people have been willing to suffer for beauty, sometimes physically, sometimes financially, sometimes socially. Because looking a certain way was not just about vanity. It was about survival. It was about status. It was about being taken seriously in a world where your appearance could open doors or close them forever. Now, let us come to a moment that completely changed everything. The year is 1910. The place is the United States of America. And a woman named Elizabeth Arden opens a small beauty salon on Fifth Avenue in New York City. Then, shortly after, a Polish-born woman named Helena Rubinstein opens her own beauty business. Both of these women were doing something revolutionary. They were telling women, ordinary women, not queens, not aristocrats, that they deserved to feel beautiful. That makeup was not shameful. That caring for your face was not a sin. At this time, respectable women were actually not supposed to wear obvious makeup. If you wore red lipstick or dark eyeshadow in public, people would assume you had low morals. Makeup was connected to actresses, dancers, and women of questionable reputation. But things were changing fast. The movies arrived. Silent films needed actors with very dramatic expressions because there was no sound and no dialogue. The cameras of that time made skin look washed out and strange, so makeup artists began creating new products: thick foundations, dark lip colors, intense eye makeup. Suddenly, the whole world was watching these glamorous faces on the big screen, and they wanted to look the same. Then the 1920s exploded. Women cut their hair short. They wore short skirts. They danced in jazz clubs until morning. And they wore bold, dark lipstick and smoky eyes like a declaration of freedom. Makeup stopped being shameful. It became a statement, a rebellion, a way of saying, I exist. I am here. I will not be invisible. A man named Max Factor, who had started as a makeup artist for film studios in Hollywood, began selling his products directly to regular women. For the first time in history, the makeup that movie stars wore was available in a small shop at a price that normal people could afford. The beauty industry, as we know it today, was born, and it never stopped growing. By the 1950s, red lips and perfectly shaped eyebrows were the uniform of feminine elegance. By the 1960s, women like Twiggy made pale lips and enormous dark lashes the face of a generation.
The 1970s brought earthy tones and natural looks. The 1980s brought electric blue eyeshadow and highlighter so bright it was almost aggressive. Every decade had its face. Every generation reinvented what beauty meant. But there was always something underneath, something deeper than the colors and the trends. Makeup has always been about identity, about belonging, about control. When you put on makeup, you are choosing who you show to the world. You are making a decision about how you want to be seen, how you want to feel, and what message you want to send before you even open your mouth. And today, the story of makeup has reached its most interesting chapter yet. Young men are wearing makeup openly without apology. People are using their faces as canvases for pure artistic expression, colors that have nothing to do with looking natural and everything to do with feeling powerful and creative. There are now foundations in hundreds of shades because people finally demanded that every skin tone deserved to be seen and celebrated. Social media has turned ordinary people into beauty pioneers with millions of followers. The ancient Egyptian woman grinding coal by the river could not have imagined any of this. But in a way, she would understand all of it, because she was doing the same thing. She was using what she had to shape how the world saw her. She was using color and material and ritual to feel protected, connected, and powerful. That is what makeup has always been. It is not just paint on a face. It is a language. It is a story. And every person who has ever looked in a mirror and picked up a brush has been adding one more line to the longest, most human story ever told. And now, that story includes you.